What's going on? It's Kevin Kenny. This is the Build Series live in New York City, and our guests today are right by my side over here, the duo known as Whitney. They return next month with a highly anticipated album, Forever Turned Around. Please make some noise for our guests today.
Thank you.
I was wasting a bunch of good questions before we went live right there, but we were talking, I guess if you're watching this live right now, 6 weeks away to the album, but it doesn't really feel like it's that close for you guys.
Yeah, it still feels really weird. I guess, yeah, this album was like such a strange process in and of itself. It still feels like a process.
Right.
And I guess like just the act of releasing music like offers a little bit of closure anyway. So,
yeah,
when it's out, it'll feel done.
Right.
I think to us, hopefully.
Was the debut strange in its own way?
Well, that was just a shock, maybe.
Yeah, we had no idea what was going on. Yeah. We just kind of put it out and hope for the best, and it ended up working out. So.
Well, of course, the response was probably a shock. But in terms of creative processes, right? Like, if you go back to that first album, you basically made the entire thing where you lived, right? Back in Chicago.
Yeah.
And it was kind of part, I guess, studio, but also part, like, party pad, I understand. You guys threw some, can we say we threw some ragers at that place?
Very responsible and respectful ragers, but yeah definitely. It wasn't like a frat house or anything.
Right.
But, yeah, we have a really good friend group in Chicago.
Yeah. Was there a method to that madness? Was it a little bit like, let's mix the party to get the creative juices going? Or was it just like, hey, this is where I live, so this is where we're going to hang out?
More of the second one.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of, I don't know if ironic is the word, but it is interesting because I'm jumping ahead a little bit in the creative process, but the new record we're going to get in August, it basically it was finalized in that same house, in that same town?
Same town, different house. So it's kind of a, I guess, secondary recording space for us in the first one. Our friends got it as Ezra's basement, and that was the last session that we did for this album.
Right.
So it ended there, where kind of like it all started in the beginning.
Am I reading too much into you guys being in Chicago and the importance of that town, the importance of that city, and the importance of those friends?
No.
The importance of the friends is probably the biggest theme.
Right.
Yeah. I always say it. Not to like disparage the city of Chicago, but I don't really like it very much.
I'm from Chicago, so I hate.
Where are you from originally?
I'm from Oregon, which also has its issues or whatever. But like, Chicago's only a good place to me because the people are really special. Yeah.
Is there Oregon pride? Like, I have bands that I love that came from like the Portland scene, but like, is there the same way that there are these scenes regionally? Do you have that for Oregon?
I have like Southern Oregon pride because it's a really strange place. That's where I was born and raised and everything, which is basically like Northern California.
Yeah.
It's like that's more of a region than Southern Oregon because what is Southern Oregon?
Right.
But yeah, I have pride.
Okay.
I guess.
Putting you on the spot.
Yeah.
I'm going to do a tour there after this now. I'm excited to hear this record because from everything I've read and everything I've heard, it sounds like we're going to get a really honest look at not only navigating your 20s, but navigating your 20s after you make this breakthrough album, right? And kind of how crazy that is to navigate and how crazy that is to figure out. Was that the goal, making the second album, is to be as honest as possible?
I think that's something that we focus on all the time when we're writing songs. But the craziest part is, I forgot this, but his last name means honest in German. Really? Which is pretty crazy considering what we did.
We just did we just got done with like a European press trip, and the last day was in Berlin, and everyone basically was like, "Do you know what your last name means?"
It's a big talking point over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But both my parents are adopted, so I don't think I'm actually German. I might be slightly German. I don't really know. I don't know. Thinking about ancestry.
Depends on the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, the vibe. When you have that breakthrough success, kind of going down this journey of honesty, right, and what you're going to explore on this record, is the initial feeling, is it joy, is it elation, or is there anxiety with that, right? Because you hope for success as a musician when you're making music growing up, right, and you're coming up. But then, what is the reality of that like? Is it almost like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do now? Like, walk me through it.
Well, I think the way that it's a good question. But like, I think that the way we were thinking about the album as a whole was kind of like deconstructing relationships. And even when you're in the best relationship possible, whether it's a friendship or a romantic relationship, there's still anxiety that'll one day fizzle out or burn out or whatever. And the same thing comes with making music.
Yeah.
It's just like a lifelong kind of anxiety. Whenever something good happens, there's, you've been saying this a lot, an equal and opposite reaction somehow in your brain that like doesn't believe that it's going to exist forever.
Right. Well, that's, I guess, what I'm kind of getting at is that apart from the themes of the album we'll get into, is that when you have that success, 2016, 2017, is there a little bit of like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do now? Right? Because you want this attention, you want this validation, but then once you have it, it is a little nerve-wracking, no? No? You're rolling with your...
No.
Yeah. Joe Cool over here,
like,
man.
No. Damn. No, there's like there's just like a part of being a human is like experiencing anxiety, probably, you know?
Yeah.
Whether it's attached to anything at all is like up to your life, like up to you. I don't know. Yeah, I don't feel like we really experience like more anxiety or like weirdness in our lives because of what we've done in our careers. I think it's just human nature.
That's cool. So no pressure going into the sophomore album. That's awesome.
Well,
I mean, I think we put pressure on each other.
yeah.
Sure.
Like we are hard on ourselves for sure, but I don't know. Music is just like a weird industry to be in.
Yeah.
In the first
Especially
place.
now more than ever, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
I don't like checking Spotify being like, are we over 1 million plays yet?
Yeah.
But I do it.
Let's talk about the pressure you put on one another, because I think the songwriting and just the creative process is pretty interesting, if I have it right. It's hilarious.
Sorry.
Is one of you will introduce a concept, right? And then is it true you'll try to make it as complex as possible? You'll challenge the other person once you introduce that concept?
Yeah, I think challenging the other person once the concept is introduced is right. I don't know if complexity necessarily is the right word, because sometimes an idea will become more simple. Like it's challenging you to make the most beautiful melody, the most almost like general or universal as possible. So sometimes the chord progression will start and be like unbelievably complex and almost like unlistenable. And one of us will be like, what if you take out a chord? So it's just challenging someone to rethink about something.
So if it is that back and forth, what is the point where you go, okay, this is done. We've taken this as far as we can take it.
It's like that point happens when both of us like don't even remember the road that we took to get there. You know what I mean? Like, if that makes sense.
So this must be the place, right?
It's like, well, shit, this is good all of a sudden. And then you just like don't. There's so many steps that like, and that's why interviews are fun. I feel like when you're actually talking about the music, because you like remember weird specific moments that like only us two would like really remember, and trying to explain them in detail is like pretty fun sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The two emerging themes, I'm sure there's plenty of them, but one, Max, you touched on is the evolution of relationships. What relationships in your guys' lives, since you had the success a couple years ago, have changed the most?
Man, you're asking hard-hitting questions.
It's great.
Warming you up for the set you're giving
it's a
us,
great
man.
one.
Didn't
Good.
really.
Yeah.
Well,
Changed-
my parents. And no,
Parents
I'm
is
not
kind
gonna
of
talk
too
about
easy.
that.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna talk about that. I have
Honestly,
good,
there's
I have
a-
good parent. We both actually are
Yeah,
blessed to have
blessed,
pretty good
yeah.
families.
But honestly, I think there was like what happens in Chicago is there's always like these mass exodus movements happening where everyone goes to New York and LA. And essentially, when we got back to Chicago, even if we were disconnected from our friends from touring a lot of them had moved to like New York and LA. So when we got there, there was like kind of no one left that we used to hang out with at that like Proclaim party house or whatever when we were writing Light Upon the Lake. So it felt kind of bizarre being back at first.
Right.
And we kind of developed some new kind of
Our
scene.
relationship with Ty has changed. That we wrote a song for Ty about.
Okay.
Just because he moved to LA. It's like
But,
not really that big of like a deal, but
What about your relationship with Damian Lillard?
love Damian.
Love
Lillard.
Damian
It's the
Lillard.
only jersey I own, and he seems like genuinely good person.
I got you that jersey for
Yeah,
your
I know, it's
birthday.
for- yeah, I know.
Don't act like you bought that.
I own it.
Man, you own it.
Yeah, because I would never buy a basketball jersey, I don't think, for myself.
No.
But love Dame.
You're spoiled.
Spoiled.
But
Has
we
he
love
showed
him.
up to a show? Because this is actually great. Do you really put him on the guest list for every show and he never shows up?
We were for a long time.
Oh, really?
But now
We're over it now. You got the jersey, right?
Some
You
of the
don't need
guest
him.
list spots are like a little bit more like not valuable. Well, we just actually have to use them sometimes.
Yeah.
We've been trying to wriggle our way into hanging out with NBA players our entire music careers, I think, but it's never worked out.
Give me like the top 5, like would love to hang NBA players of all time. They don't have to be active.
Great.
Of all time?
We should know.
Yeah.
We should
I'd rather
all time
do active.
Active is more fun.
Active? All right.
Yeah.
All time is too.
I don't think anyone on the Chicago Bulls besides Kobe
Kobe White,
They're like new,
super sick.
signed new rookie. Wow. Ooh, this is such a deep question.
It is. I've never thought about it. Definitely not Russell Westbrook though.
Oh, Russell Westbrook, yeah. Russ definitely has his good sides, or like good. I don't know. He could be fun to talk to. I'm trying to think though. Oh man,
Lou Williams, I think, would be sick.
Lou Williams is like an intense person, I think too, but probably fun.
Pretty fun.
I don't know. This is a hard question actually.
Well, I know classic players. You don't want to hang with like Rodman, talk to that guy for 20 minutes?
No.
Rodman
I
is
don't know.
sick, dude.
I mean, no, he's
grew
like
up in the
really
90s in
entertaining, but
Chicago.
like
Come
the
on.
whole, I would like listen to an NPR podcast about his trips to North Korea, and it's just like, man, I don't know, whatever. Yeah, let's talk about North Korea.
Holy shit.
Like, damn. Oh, there's so many players that I would love to hang. I mean, like Evan Turner, I like a lot.
I would love to hang out. Kawhi is such a boring person to bring up because he's like the best player in the NBA. But
But you just want to see.
I
want
want
to
to know. I want to understand what is actually going on.
You want to see what he's doing off camera
yeah,
or whatever.
Yeah, he seems very smart about his marketing.
Kyle Lowry has like a really cute smile. Like when they won the championship, I was like, wow.
I'd love
he's
to
like
have
an adorable dude. I'd like to hang out with him.
having a heart to heart with DeRozan right now would be pretty special. Be like, well, how do you feel? Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, it's going to be tough.
it's a tough one.
These are way more than 5. This has become, I think we
Yeah,
should go
We
back
can, we
to
can
the
talk
party
about we can
pass,
talk
man.
about the NBA for a long time.
Yeah, for real. Another theme on the new record that I wanted to ask you guys about is this sort of priorities changing, I guess is a simple way of putting it, right? How have your priorities changed?
Well, this became like a job, which is pretty, I don't know. We didn't fully
Well, what does that
intend on
mean?
that happening.
Like, give us a before and after. When music wasn't a job and now that it is a job, how is it different?
Like we literally wake up in the morning and it's all you do. Besides, like we picked up running quite a bit. We like ran a half marathon last month. Don't really feel that good now after
feeling
going
it?
to Europe and like eating a bunch of bread and cheese. But, yeah, I don't know. It's weird. Like it is a job though. We still try not to view it that way and try to only do it out of passion or whatever. But like, it becomes a job.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like a good thing then that you don't have to go to some crappy job and do music at night or anything like that, right? You just get to do music all the time.
Yeah, I mean, definitely not complaining.
Yeah.
We've had crappy jobs.
Yeah. Shout out to crappy jobs.
Yeah, they're
And
like,
North Korea.
yeah.
What the hell? All right, let's get to some fan questions. First is going to come from Twitter over here.
Oh,
There we are.
That's what we're doing.
No, I'm not going to pronounce that, but let's go to here. How's your foot doing, Max?
All right, so.
As you rock some socks.
Wait,
Can we get a shot of the socks? There we go.
Oh, dang, that's Bree. Oh, you jerk. Bree's a friend of ours.
Oh, is Bree here?
Yeah, Bree's here.
Oh, Bree should asked it.
So we were rehearsing for 2 weeks in Michigan on July 4th. I kind of had a night, and I think walked outside with bare feet for a minute, and this is all blood.
take it off.
I'm not going to take it off. You don't want to see what I got poison ivy very, very badly and can't wear shoes for a few days. So that's why I'm wearing socks. But it was fun a couple days ago to walk through New York with no shoes on to find a Target to then get a pair of flip-flops.
Wait, how far did you walk without shoes?
I mean, it was like probably like not far at all.
Wow.
I'm complaining, but
Risk taker, man.
not that bad.
All right. Well, thanks, Bree, wherever you are, and speedy recovery for Max. Let's get to some in-studio fan questions. The first is going to come from right behind me.
Hi. I have a question from our website, buildseries.com. What was the musical group or solo act that you saw when you were younger that made you realize you wanted to pursue a career in music?
I got really lucky and got to see like the Strokes and the Hives play together when I was in 8th grade. So it was like the height of their careers basically, and I was a young person and thought it was the best thing in the world. Also, Santa Claus came out and threw cigarettes at the crowd at some point, and I was like, it was absolutely ridiculous.
I don't know. I liked Bruce Hornsby a lot when just like as a 5-year-old or whatever, when my dad would play it. But actually, my dad probably made me want to play music more than anything.
You know what made me think of I wanted to ask you is that this is supposed to be an album, right, all about relationships. Do you guys as just music fans, music lovers, do you have like favorite albums of all time that focused on relationships? I don't know if you think in terms of that, but...
Shit. Maybe not albums, but maybe songs.
Yeah,
I mean,
what
like,
comes to mind?
I remember you were playing Old Friend a shit ton. Oops, a lot.
Oh yeah, I think we can curse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
But shit ton is like a lame thing to say, maybe.
Yeah, it slipped out.
Yeah, Old Friends. In like the early stages of writing the record, I was like going through a Simon and Garfunkel phase that I've I don't want to talk about. But yeah, this will be the first time that we're talking about it, because that is like a legitimately amazing song, until like the strings get a little too heavy. But yeah, I don't know. I mean,
And even
as far as like,
even a song that we're like when we play "Crying Laughing" tonight,
Yeah.
it's like a great song about relationships and how they change. And
it's weird. It's like most songs are about relationships, so
Yeah.
it's like hard to.
It's funny you said you were getting into Simon and Garfunkel when you were making the record, because I think I read somewhere that you guys don't really love listening to other music while you're making your own music. Is that true?
Kinda.
it's just like you can drive yourself crazy, and
Yeah.
also end up taking someone's idea on accident, and then
Right.
realizing later that like you didn't mean to like write. Yeah.
We've done a good job of not doing that,
I
but
think we check each other. That's another part of like the process. Like it feels like you lifted that from somewhere.
Yeah.
You know.
that really hasn't. We haven't even had that conversation that much, though. I think the not listening to music like more comes from a place of like for instance, like last record, it was all like we just listened to like 5 songs, like a Jim Ford song, an Amanaz song, the band song, and there was like a couple other. And this one, it was like mainly like we listened to a couple Neil Young songs throughout the whole thing. Like it's like it's more about focus, I think.
Yeah, that's cool. Let's get to one final fan question.
Hey, I was a big fan of Smith Westerns, and I really liked the first album with like Glam Goddess. And I was wondering, would you like make another album like that was that lo-fi? Would you like go back to that sound? And also just like what would the creative process behind making that album was like the first Smith Westerns album?
The first Smith Westerns album, me and Cullen and Cameron wrote it when we were like 17 in high school and recorded it on a cassette machine I stole from our high school that was like completely broken. So I'm not really sure how to go back into that zone. I do think that it's bizarre. That was like my first time using GarageBand. So I like would use everything from tape, then dump it, and then put strings over it. There's like some weird string synths, and that was my first time like experimenting with orchestration on a song that wasn't like just guitars. So I think in a way I see Whitney as an evolution of that. And I think there's like a certain part of this band that will always, even in Whitney, that will keep trying to be lo-fi and like gritty and tape saturated, but still like advance somehow on the idea of arrangement.
Great question. All right, we're unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, out of time of the interview portion. We're going to get to the good part here. You guys are going to be nice enough to perform some songs for us live. 3, I've been told.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not even say what they are.
Cool.
Let's keep it a secret. If you're watching right now, you want to check out the new record. It's called, again, Forever Turned Around. It's out everywhere August 30th. And let's give it up one more time, guys, for Whitney.